Say a word about the Democratic Party. And this is motivated by the notion that progressive historiography, which is mostly what I would say we all learn, what I learned, suppresses the complicity of the Democratic Party in the great crimes of American politics. It is hardly an exaggeration to say that most of the things for which Democrats indict America, or Republicans, or the white man, or even the South, were not done by America, or the white man, or even the South, but were actually primarily driven by the Democratic Party itself. It's the accuser who is actually guilty of the crime. It's the guy who poisoned the waters who's pretending to show up as the water commissioner. Now, to prove this would actually take more than I can possibly do here, but I'm just going to sum up by saying that the Democratic Party is without dispute in this country's history the party that promoted slavery, segregation, Jim Crow, racial terrorism, the Ku Klux Klan, and it was the main party in opposition to the civil rights laws of the 1960s. I have documented this in rather excruciating detail, but I want to leave you with just a single tidbit that to me illustrates the degree to which even those of us in this room, educated, smart, having gone to the best schools and are here at one of the best schools, but nevertheless don't know things because they're not in our textbooks and we're not told them. So in 1860, the year before the Civil War, I would point to the Democratic Party and what its complicity in slavery, by the way, Democrats North and South, and inevitably on campus someone would say to me, "But Dinesh, you've got to realize that this is a very simplistic argument. You're pointing your finger in one direction. Surely there's a lot of blame to go around." And this is the kind of thing that I would say my career exists to crush, which is the attempt ultimately to evade the issue by backing up and throwing, if you will, a squid-like cloud of obfuscation over the whole matter. There's plenty of blame to go around. Actually, no. And the proof of it is that in 1860, the year before the Civil War, no Republican owned a slave. I pause. Not no Republican leader owned a slave. It's my contention that no Republican in the United States owned a slave. And that means that all the slaves in the entire country, 4 million of them at the time, were owned by Democrats. Now, that's hate speech if you're looking for it. But it's not just hate speech, it's a scientific statement in the sense that it opens itself to what Popper calls refutability. Refutability. All you have to do is give me the names of 3 Republicans who owned slaves, and I would have to take it back. But to this date, 3 years after I first made this claim, not a single valid counterexample has surfaced. And what does that tell you? That tells you that there's not plenty of blame to go around, that slavery was one-sidedly promoted by one party and opposed by the other party. Do you know that every segregation law in the South, from the beginning to the end, was passed by a Democratic legislature, signed by a Democratic governor, and put into effect by Democratic officials, and that there's not a single exception to that rule? And yet, these facts that I'm telling you now do not appear, to my knowledge, in a single textbook. They do not appear on the History Channel or on NPR. They're not in Wikipedia if you type it in there. And why not? They're true, but they have been suppressed by progressive historiography. What I'm trying to say is that history, somebody made it. And the somebodies who made it found inconvenient facts that they thought it better not to say or not to emphasize. And part of my education, if you will, as an immigrant, has been to open my eyes to all of this and to see, as with Frost, the repressed truth that goes unsaid that is perhaps more important than what is said on the surface. My life was changed by Dartmouth, and I hope your lives will be too. This is a great institution, and that's why I sent my